Hello everyone, Miss Gretchen with Rubies and Moonstones. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new to my channel, I hope that you like it here and would consider subscribing. And if you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. I really do greatly appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you so much. So today I am recording another WIP in Chat. If you are new and unfamiliar with the term, a WIP stands for work in progress. And this is my current work in progress. It is called Out of Control by Richard Lorenz, and I just started it. It's also made by Diamond Art Club. And you are welcome to pull out whatever you are working on and work alongside me while you listen to me chat. Or you can treat this more like a podcast and just listen to me talking as you go about your everyday life, doing whatever you do while you want something to listen to. So I am going to get you zoomed in and get my plastic peeled back, the light pad turned on, get everything set up, and then we will start chatting. Okay. Okay, I think I have you in to where you will be able to see wherever I'm working. So I have attempted to film a WIP in Chat a couple of times now because it has been a while since I have posted anything. And for whatever reason, I decided that those were not good enough to actually post. And maybe I'm being too hard on myself. I don't know. But I even went through editing the entire last video that I did, and I'm listening to it to like double check that all of my sniffles are taken out and things like that. And I don't like it. So I really want to get something posted. I want to share with you. I just figure if I don't like whatever the video is and the content is that I created, then how can I expect you to like it? So I am taking it out, and I'm going to try and do another one, and we'll see how it goes. So first of all, a little bit of a disclaimer or a little side comment. It is early in the morning, and I may have to stop and come back if the baby wakes up. So if my format seems to change a little bit or my setup seems to change a little bit, that is likely the reason why, which you may hear him on the monitor. Also, my bulldog, of course, is underfoot, and that means she is going to fall asleep soon, and that means she is going to start snoring soon. So if you hear the snoring bulldog in the background, I am sorry, but you know, she's my dog. I'm not going to kick her out. So, I guess she can just snore, right? But that's what that weird sound in the background is, the bulldog. I know I've mentioned her before. She is the sweetest little thing. I love dogs. I grew up with dogs and always want to have a dog. When I was in college, you know, you can't have pets in the dorms, right? So I didn't have anything, and then I got my first apartment and maneuvered it so that I could have a cat. I'd never had a cat before. I am not a huge cat person. I like cats just fine. I just know nothing about training them, and really, I mean, I know how to take care of animals, so I know how to take care of it, but I didn't know how to train this cat, and I likely could do better now as an adult with more time spent. But my thought then was, I am too busy for a dog, but I really get lonely without a pet around. I like to have something. So I thought getting a cat was the more responsible thing to do. Because, you know, a cat doesn't have to get let out of the house or go on walks. It can just use the litter box, and you can set up a cat feeder so that if I wanted to stay out all night with my friends, I could. Thinking back on it now, I probably shouldn't have allowed myself to get a cat either, but I did. And he was a crazy cat. I named him Mercutio because Mercutio is Romeo's best friend in Romeo and Juliet. So that's where the name came from. But it quickly got shortened down to Momo. And later in life, it got shortened down even more, well, not shortened, lengthened, I guess, to Momo Mo. When he went to a new owner, he added a third Mo. So, and I did get him from the shelter. And he was a good cat. I just, like I said, I didn't know how to train him. So, but I had told myself that as a college student, I was not responsible enough to have a dog, and I didn't allow myself to get a dog until I graduated from college. That was what I had always told myself is, wait until you graduate and then you can get a dog. So sure enough, I graduate from college, and I have some friends that happen to go to a pet store. And I'm not someone who would typically buy a dog from a pet store. That's not usually the way I go about things, but this friend was looking for a dog. Everybody was going, so I went. And my friend didn't find a dog, but I saw this cute black and white puppy, and it was called a Cockalier. It was half Cocker Spaniel, half Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. I always wanted a Cavalier King Charles, and all of its siblings had been purchased at that point, so it was just by itself up high in its cage, and of course I had them get it down, and I played with her and fell in love with her and had to have her. So it should be noted that at this point in my life, yes, I had graduated college. I graduated in August, and I'm pretty sure this is about October. So it hadn't been very long. I did not have a full-time job. I believe I was completely unemployed. I was completely unemployed at this time. I didn't have a house either because when I graduated, I moved out of the house that I was living in with some friends because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my life. I didn't know if I was going to get a job in the town that I was living, if I was going to move somewhere else. I just had no idea what I was going to do. So I moved out of the house that I had been living in, and I was living with my sister, who also, lived in the same town. And then I was starting to look for a job. And then, of course, I met a boy and started dating that boy, and pretty much was staying at his house all the time anyway. And so I stopped looking at moving anywhere else. I don't know how seriously I was actually considering moving to a different location, but once I started dating this guy, obviously, of course, kind of fell for that, and stopped wanting to move out of that town and stick around. So I fell in love with this dog, and I text my boyfriend, who we had not been dating very long. And I text him and say, hey, we need to talk. I fell in love with a dog today, or something to that effect. And he told me that he got the message and he was at work taking a break and he read it. And he told his friend, well, I guess I'm getting a dog. So, and he was a cat person. He already had 3 cats at the time. So I am unemployed. I am homeless. And I decide that it's a good idea to get a dog because I have met the one piece of criteria that I gave myself to get a dog, which was to be a college graduate or to have graduated from college. Now I am responsible. How do I purchase this dog? I put it on a credit card. Real responsible, Gretchen. Real responsible. So yeah, not. But I loved that dog. She was the first dog that I ever had that was completely my own. You know, we always had pets growing up. We always had lots of dogs growing up, so I did know how to train dogs. And like I said, I always wanted one. I just said that I needed to be I needed to have graduated from college in order to get one because I was not responsible enough as a college student, and I was going to be out and about too much that I couldn't have a dog at home to take care of. So while I was homeless, slash living with my sister or boyfriend, I just brought the dog with me wherever I went. So she rode with me in the car everywhere and went to friends' houses, and we had a lot of fun in those first couple of years, actually. I remember it being really cold. It was about October because I remember having to potty train her and take her out in the middle of the night. And, you know, although the boyfriend let me keep the dog at his apartment, I was the one who said that I wanted it. So if the dog needed to go out at 3 a.m., I was the one who had to get dressed and take it. And I remember it being really cold and snowy and having to take her out. And that wasn't very fun. So in the future, I want to get dogs when I can train them in the summertime. So I don't know why. I have kind of a hard time coming up with dog names. Maybe everybody probably has, I don't know. Do you have a hard time coming up with names for your pets? Part of what I did is I said, well, you know what? This boyfriend is letting me keep the dog at his apartment, and I should do something nice for him, I guess. So I let him help pick out the name for the dog. And he thought it would be cool to name it after a Greek goddess or something like that. I didn't want something super common like Aphrodite or Hera, some of the more commonly known Greek goddesses. And so we looked up different names of Greek goddesses that maybe were not as well known, at least not as well known to us. And the name that we ended up picking was Hestia. And Hestia is the goddess of the hearth and home. And so I thought that that was a cute idea for the dog. And then, of course, over time, well, you know, I actually called her Hestia pretty regularly while she was a puppy. My parents never liked the name. My dad especially never liked the name. He thought that the dog needed to have a shorter name. So, but I thought it was fine. And yeah, it was 3 syllables, but she learned it. And anyway, eventually at some point in my life, my parents needed to take care of the dog for me because I was in between living situations again or something. Sorry, I don't know. Squares drive me, or rounds drive me nuts like this when they're not perfectly aligned and they've got those slight little guide circles. I just really want to line them up. So anyways, my parents had the dog for a bit, and when they were taking care of her, they shortened her name to Tia. And that really stuck. So we had Tia, the Cavalier King Charles Cocker Spaniel, or Cockalier is what they had her listed as. And yeah, she was my first dog, and her birthday was June 21st. And it was really fun because then when I started dating my husband, he has a daughter, and her birthday was very nearby when the dog's birthday was, and even to the year. So they were the same age, and I always thought it was kind of funny. I still think it's funny that at the time in my life when I decided that I was responsible enough to have a dog, and I probably shouldn't have, like as I just explained, he was having a baby. So it kind of shows us the different points of time we were at in our lives back then. So I have some pictures of my stepdaughter and my dog together on their birthdays to commemorate the fact that they were the same years old and everything. And unfortunately, Tia did have to get put down a year ago. Was it just? Yeah, it was about a year ago. Probably coming up on the anniversary of it now, actually. And so I believe that she had made it to 15, which, you know, that's a good number of years for a dog. I was impressed that she lived that long. I mean, she was a small dog, and, you know, her health was gradually failing for several years. And, you know, we just finally hit that point last year where it was time. So, my first dog, the first time that I had to be the sole owner of that decision, and it was hard. We went through a lot together, but I think it is an important part of being a pet owner is knowing when that time has come. And you don't want your pet who you love so much to suffer. And yeah, so I made sure that I was there. I've heard that a lot of people don't want to be there for that moment. But in my opinion, and you can completely disagree, maybe this is kind of too heavy of a topic. I guess I am going there. But in my opinion, you know, the dog doesn't know the vet, so they're not feeling good. They're old, they're scared, and I didn't want to just leave her by herself with the vet and these people that she doesn't know. So I made sure that I was with her and I was looking in her eyes until they, you know, until she was gone. So I'm glad that I was there. And as I was waiting for the vet, you know, they got her situated and prepped up and stuff, and we were waiting for the vet and having kind of our last moments together. They had a really nice setup at this vet clinic. And you had a private room that had a comfortable chair, and there was a really pretty garden outside of it and everything. And so while I was waiting for the vet to come in, I saw a cardinal come down outside in this pretty garden area. Cardinals are something that I have always associated with spirits. I do think that it's kind of a common association. I have a girlfriend whose mother has passed, and she sees cardinals a lot and always associates them with her mother as well. So I'm not sure where that tradition came from. I know it's not uncommon for us to associate cardinals with a loved one that has passed over, but so anyway, so I saw the cardinal before the dog left, and I wasn't exactly sure what that meant because, you know, she technically was right there with me, but my husband had the thought, and I agree with him. that that it was the dog's way of letting me know that it was okay and it was time for her to go. So at least it comforts me whether it's true or not. So and so now we have our other dog, Ezzy. Her name started out being Esmeralda. See, these dog names, these pet names, Mercutio, Hestia, I don't know. And it has gotten shortened down to Ezzy. I spell it E-Z-I. And I joke that she's easy on the eyes because she's this funny looking bulldog. I might insert a picture of her here so that you can see her. Bulldogs are just the funniest dogs ever. They're kind of like your own personal court gesture is what my dad always says, and I completely agree. They are just funny. But man, do they smell. They're just very gaseous. They breathe in so much air because the way that their snout is shaped, so it makes it difficult for them to breathe, and that's why they snore so loudly, and that is why they pass a lot of gas. But to me, it is all worth it because of how wonderful and sweet and loving she is. And I mean, all dogs are that way. But I don't know, bulldogs are just an extra fun breed, and they have a very fun attitude. But she's also very much a guard dog too. Bulldogs were bred for bullfighting, I guess. So they are quite tough, and they were bred to have these really wide shoulders. And they've been bred to be so wide at this point that they cannot have births naturally. You have to take them into the vet to have a cesarean. Otherwise, you could put your dog at risk of dying, not making it through the birth. So whether that's right or wrong, I'm not going to get into that. Obviously, I like the breed. I love the breed, or I would not have my own bulldog. But she is a really good guard dog. And, she knows which child is the youngest and to always sit underneath the high chair. That's where she's going to get the most food. And she's always been very protective of whoever the youngest child is. So, like when my husband is kind of rough playing with the kids, when it was my stepdaughter and then now with my own kids, like the bulldog will sometimes get in between him and the kids, thinking that, because my daughter will playfully scream or run away or something like that, and the bulldog doesn't exactly know what's going on, so sometimes she'll insert herself in between my husband and the kids. But trust me, nothing is going on. The kids are fine. The bulldog is just confused. And then there was one time, there's going to be some stories that I tell. I can have a temper. I feel like it has gotten better as I have gotten older. I have learned to manage it more, but I do have high anxiety, and my mom used to describe me as being wound so tight, like I'm like a spring that's wound so tight, and that something just sets me off, and then the spring, snaps undone, and I just go. I don't think I'm quite like that anymore, but at the same time, I have my moments. There was a time when we lived at a different house. The bulldog was much younger. She was only a couple of years old. based off of my memory of just which house we were at and knowing how old she was when we were there. And man, she is getting really loud with her snores right now. So I really hope it's not bothering you. And we started getting these kids who would come ring our bell and run, and it wasn't May Day or anything like that. Does anybody still do the May Day thing? I don't know. I remember it as a kid, but I don't remember ever doing anything anytime recently. Anyway, so we had these kids that were coming over and they were bothering us. And, in hindsight, it's really not that big of a deal. Whatever. They came and rang the bell, you open the door, no one's there. Okay, whatever. But for whatever reason, it was bothering me that they kept doing this. And so every time that they would come, I would have to, get up out of my chair, lazy old me, and go to the door just to see that nobody was there, or that, there's these kids running away, ha, ha, ha. And the dog would bark, and, it was a whole thing. So one time, they ring the bell, and for whatever reason, that is the day where I had had enough. And I jump out of my chair and I run to the door, and I just immediately burst out of the door and start running down the street. I don't have my shoes on or anything. But it's summertime, so it's not a huge deal. And so I start running down the street and telling these kids to stop messing around and leave our property alone and stop ringing the bell, blah, blah, blah. Irrational. Yeah. Like I said, hindsight, I don't think that it was the right thing to do. I just had apparently had enough that day. So anyways, these kids are on skateboards and scooters and stuff. So they definitely are going to get away from me. It's not like I'm going to catch them. And what was I even going to do if I did? I don't know. Like I said, I was not thinking. So I finally stop running after them. And when I do, I stop and I look down, and the bulldog is standing right next to me. And then I think about it. And as I was running down the street, I didn't process it at the time, but as I was running down the street, the dog was barking. So she was running down the street with me as I was chasing these kids, and the bulldog is barking with me. And bulldogs have a pretty ferocious little bark, It's not a little bark, it's a big bark. So I'm guessing that's why the kids were maybe a bit more intimidated by me, and why they actually ran away and they never rang that doorbell again. I think it was because of the dog, not because of me. So anyways, I looked down, the bulldog's right there. She's been barking with me the entire time. I was just so impressed with her for rushing out the door with me. Like I said, I just opened the door and started running. And so she somehow slid out the door with me. I had no idea. And then I was so proud of her because as soon as I stopped running, she stopped running too. No leash, nothing like that. And at that point in time, our training with the leash had not been going that great. So the fact that she was able to know that I stopped, so she needed to stop, I was very impressed with her. So I feel like she was being very protective of me, and she did a really good job. And so then I told her, okay, come on, let's go back home. And she turned around and followed me home. I didn't have to help guide her home or anything like that. And she trotted home beside me like she was so proud. We just showed them. Yeah, that was a good one. Good memory. I think it's funny now. I don't condone yelling at kids who yell at, stop it, ring your bell. But that's how the story goes. And there might be a few more of those stories about me and my life, where I do things like that that are maybe not the best of decisions, but sometimes I think that those are the stories that make the best stories, the ones where we maybe didn't make the best decisions and make the best choices. They make for better stories in hindsight. Shouldn't be that way, I suppose, but I guess it is. Sometimes when I think about a few different stories and another story that I was possibly going to share in a different WIP Chat, I don't know, and maybe I'll still share that one someday. I don't even know what I was saying, but so yeah, that's my dogs. So the other thing about my pets, my dogs, is that my husband is allergic to everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. So he cannot mow the lawn. That, or it's been a really good ruse for the last 20 or 14 years. I am always the one who mows the lawn. I've actually hired some people to do it this year, but that's besides the point. So, you know, he has really bad allergies when it comes to all of the pollen in the air, and you know, they never had pets growing up, and I think that part of the reason that he didn't have pets was because of all of his allergies. I don't know. I know that they did have a dog in the latter years of his mother's life. I think that I think that they got that dog when she was still alive anyway. But, so anyways, husband's allergic to everything. So as I am dating him, he is working at a pet store, and he has a friend who is very much into the reptiles. And they have this idea that they want to breed snakes. What ball pythons is the type of snake that they were into. So not incredibly huge snakes, but I mean, they're decent sized. So he's talking to me because we're living together at this point in time, but we're not engaged or married or anything yet. We've just been dating for quite a while. And so he wants to get these snakes, and we're having a conversation about it. And so I say, all right, I will make you a deal. I already had Tia at this point in time because I got her, you know, years before I met my husband. There were just different points in my life depending on my living situation where I wasn't able to actually have her living with me. But I do think that she was living with us at this point in my story. I think so. Anyway, so I tell my husband, you know what? I'll make you a deal. I will always have to have a dog in my life. And I know you're allergic to dogs, but, you know, you seem to be doing kind of okay with Tia at the moment. And maybe I just don't understand how bad his allergies actually were, or are, because I know they are bad. And she was a long-haired dog. Anyway, I said I'd make him a deal that I always will have to have a dog. And so long as he will always let me have a dog, I will let him get a snake. I, to this day, will swear that the conversation went like that. I said a snake, one snake. But that didn't mean I couldn't have more than one dog. He will say that the conversation was always snakes, plural. And so he ended up getting 4 snakes that we had in our house. We had 2 females and 2 males. They were always secure in their cages, and so it was fine, and it didn't really bother me. And I, in fact, really did enjoy getting to watch them eat. is amazing. These prehistoric like animals and the way that they are able to stretch their jaws, and like double and triple in size to eat is just amazing to me. So as gruesome as that may sound to watch them eat, I just thought it was amazing to watch that animal life happen. So yeah, so that's the agreement that we made, and I hope we are always able to stick to it. Having a dog is very important to me. You know, my kids and husband are more important, don't get me wrong, but, you know, he's talked about getting those allergy shots for years, and we just haven't actually done it. So I'm kind of hoping that he maybe will do that here at some point. So I have finished Springbringer, and if you haven't seen it, I haven't posted it as of the time that I am filming this, but there will be a post review of that piece coming up. And so that was my really large square canvas, and I am trying to decide which square canvas to work on next. I need a large square canvas to work on. So I am currently working on this bird. I am trying to complete all of the Richard Lorenz birds, and so this is one that came up. So it's more of a medium-sized print, and it's with round diamonds. And I really don't mind rounds, but they are not my preferred shape. If I could choose between round and square, I would choose square. And I really liked it when the Diamond Art Club was trying out that option. I've heard that they are going away from that they didn't like doing it for whatever reason, and that they're no longer going to provide us with option. So that makes me kind of sad, but I'm sure they have their reasons. So anyways, I have this one that I'm working on. I have a smaller canvas called Cat and Cupcake that I have going upstairs. So, you know, I'm on my drafting table in the basement now, but so that's technically gotten me out of the dining room. However, I do still have a small canvas, that Cat and Cupcake one, set up upstairs in the dining room. I don't know. I was going to maybe use my time. I've just been working on it, like whenever I have 5 minutes here and there while I'm waiting for the dog to come in from outside, or, you know, whatever the case may be, I then have that one to work on. So it's getting very slowly and gradually completed. I had also thought about just using that time and space then to work on finishing some of my paintings, like working on the borders, painting some of the borders, or, you know, taking off the ink for some of the borders, doing those types of things up there instead. And so, like, I have Nefertiti laying up out there waiting for the borders to get painted black, but now I have Cat and Cupcake set out, and I am completing that when I have a few minutes. So I'm not sure if I will continue to try and just have a small canvas going up there to work on when I have some time but need to be upstairs, or if I will stop doing that and yeah, work on borders and other stuff when I have spare time upstairs. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, so I have Out of Control by Richard Lorenz going, Cat and Cupcake, Casanova. I can't remember her first name, but I think that's the author, or I think that's the artist of Cat and Cupcake. And it's a small square. And then I have Where the Fun Never Ends going for my time-lapse series. But now that Springbringer is done, I need another large square canvas to work on. So I am struggling to decide what to do. I have narrowed it down to 2 pieces, and I'm kind of thinking about just going ahead and kitting up them both. But I probably only want to actually work on one at a time and not have both of those going. Oh, because I also have astronomer going, which I have gotten a little bit done on that, and I'm trying to get more completed on that one. You know, I just want to get another row done and then focus on my next canvas. So I don't know, squares take a little bit more effort to me than rounds. Rounds seem to go really fast, and I don't have to put quite as much time and thought and effort into them. I mean, I still do. You can see me going back and trying to fix my placement on a lot of these, because there's just that like slightly very light round shape around these white dots, and so when I can kind of see that coming through, it kind of drives me nuts. But you know, when the light pad's off, you can't tell. So yeah, so okay, so I want a large squared canvas to work on. So help me decide what to do. So I have Rainy Day by Hannah Lynn, and Hannah Lynn, I have not completed any of her artwork, and as you likely know, she has announced that she will no longer be working with Diamond Art Club. So there's kind of like this big panic on trying to get her kits and sell her kits and things like that. And I've bought a couple of her kits, but like I said, I haven't worked on any yet. But I did like the Rainy Day one. I like how it has all the colors to it, and I thought that it looked like it would be fun to complete. So I was able to get it, and am thinking about doing that one. Since it is the end of April going into May, it seems like a good time of year to complete it, or I could save it and do it next spring. I have bought some extra special drills to use with it, like a few ABs to add to the rainbow, and some pixie dust to change the bushes around the lake into so that they're green and not yellow. But yeah, so the thing is with that one, like, I don't know, I filmed an unboxing of it, but I am not going to be posting it because there are so many unboxings of that one already. And I mean, if you YouTube search Rainy Day, there is just a million stuff that comes up, and I just don't see the point in me adding to that. I think that it looks like a fun canvas to complete. Like I said, it's got a lot of fun colors to it, and I want to complete a Hannah Lynn, just to see what it's like to complete her style of artwork. And it's square. Most of Hannah Lynn's diamond paintings are round. And as I said, if I have the choice, I prefer to do a square canvas. So, so that's one of the reasons why I do like Rainy Day for her piece. And I'll insert a picture at some point if I haven't done it already. But yeah, so Rainy Day is a square design, and that's one of the reasons why I chose it to be the Hannah Lynn that I was going to complete. At least that's the plan. But maybe I should save that one for next spring, since it is already almost May, going into June. I just kind of want something that is spring-like, spring, summer-y type thing to do. Happy, colorful look. So the other one that I have narrowed it down to is Magic Roses by Yanovia Art. So it is an incredibly huge canvas, and I'll insert a picture of that. It is one of the first diamond paintings that I ever bought from Diamond Art Club. It is actually the diamond painting that got me to place my first order. I when I first started doing research into licensed diamond art companies and, you know, discovering Diamond Art Club and all of that good stuff, Magic Roses happened to be a new release that week that I saw on YouTube, and I got really excited about it. And so it's what got me to make my first Diamond Art Club purchase. And when I purchased Magic Roses, I also purchased Nefertiti and that rose one that I just completed. I can't remember what it was called, but it was in my completion videos. And was it Rapunzel, or it might be the Blue Fairy? I'll have to go back and look. So it'll either be the last one from that first order or the third to last one from the first order, because there were 4 paintings in that order. And it's either the third or the fourth one that I have left to complete. So, yeah, it's huge. I think it's 65 by 130 centimeters. So I wanted to learn how to work with square diamonds before I started working on that canvas. Because yeah, when I purchased it, I was very new still into diamond painting. I hadn't done very much work with squares, and definitely not very much work with actually good square diamonds like those that come with Diamond Art Club's kits. So now that I have completed a handful of square kits, I feel like I am ready to complete Magic Roses. So those are the 2 that I have in my head to complete. And I might go ahead and kit up both, but just have kind of rainy day be more of one that I just kind of do on the side for myself versus having it be in all my WIP and chats and things like that. I don't know. What do you think? Maybe I should only have one kitted up at a time. Okay, so yeah, kitting up both is kind of the cop out. I can't make a decision, so I'm just going to kit up both of them, and then I'll work on whichever one I want to work on. But I'm kind of thinking that it would be better to just have one square canvas kitted up at a time, since I still have, you know, this one going, Astronomer, Where the Fun Never Ends, and Cat and Cupcake. Do I really need to add 2 more into it to replace Springbringer that I just completed? Or maybe I should just, you know, add 1 large square in it to complete, or to replace Springbringer. So what is your opinion? Should I do Rainy Day by Hannah Lynn, or should I do Magic Roses? What would you like to see? Let me know in the comments. So this has been an interesting one to work on for the WIP and Chat, because I haven't used any other color besides black. So obviously there is a lot of black in this bird, and I'm almost, wait, no I'm not. I've still got all this black over here to do. I just got pulled over into this section here. So I almost got all the black done on this half, but then I need to go fill in all the empty spots over there. So, but I guess it makes it easier for me to talk when I am not having to switch out a bunch of colors. I've thought about maybe when I'm doing WIP and Chats to try and stop talking and recording and cut out and editing when I'm switching colors, because I mean then you can't see what I'm doing, and I'm, especially when I'm working on a square, then I'm just sitting over here and picking out all of the bad drills. So I don't know if that's what I will actually do in the future or not, because, you know, when you're talking, you kind of get on a roll, and then if you pause, you forget what you're talking about, and yeah, so we'll see. I do try not to edit out a bunch of stuff, but I don't like it when I have a bunch of pauses in my videos. I don't like it when I have a bunch of ums. For some reason, when I am recording, I seem to get like a frog in my throat, and I need to clear it quite a bit. And I mean, you don't want to hear that, so I need to stop and edit that out. And then for some reason, I also always seem to get really sniffly, and I think that that's kind of because I'm like looking down or something like that, or maybe it is kind of part of the time of year. It was interesting when I first got up and got down here. I got an alert on my phone that there was a lightning warning for my location, and we had a little bit of a thunderstorm pop through, and that's one of the things that I love about this time of year is just every once in a while you get a light shower or a little thunderstorm that pops through. We haven't had anything severe here, but the dog does not like thunderstorms, kind of circling back to dogs. Now, she is not one who, you know, needs to be medicated due to not liking storms or anything like that. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she has a couple of dogs that she has to give anxiety medications to when there's thunderstorms. And so yeah, luckily I have not had that issue with my dogs. I mean, when there's a thunderstorm, she definitely wants to be next to me, and that's probably why she has been so underfoot this entire time. But at the same time, like, she's not overly terrified of the thunderstorm. She would just prefer to be by me when she hears those really loud noises. And when you think about how sensitive their ears are, how much better they can hear than us, gosh, it must really be loud for them when they hear that thunder. And then can you imagine how awful it must be then when they have the fireworks? Ugh. Fireworks, that's a whole different topic. But yeah, they kind of drive me nuts too. I'm sure I will talk about that more as it gets closer to the 4th of July. So, plus I feel like we are kind of getting to the end of our time window here, and I also am almost done with the color black. So, this is going to be a good time to conclude the video. And I'm so lucky because the baby stayed down and I was able to finish filming without having to stop. So I should have said this at the beginning and I didn't, but I guess I will add it here and we'll see who actually listens to the end. But I am already almost at 250 subscribers and I can't believe it. Like, that is amazing to me. I said that I would do a subscriber giveaway at 100 subscribers, like I did, and then at 250, 500, 750, and 1,000. So if I am lucky enough to reach those higher numbers, then I will do giveaways at those point in time. If I am lucky enough to hit 1,000 and beyond, I will probably not do a giveaway at 1,250, for example, but I will probably continue to do giveaways, just stretch them out a bit further. But as my channel is growing and these beginning numbers these are so important, and if I was not continuing to get people to subscribe to my channel, I would probably not be continuing to make videos. So that is why you guys are so important to me. I know I said it in previous videos, but I just don't feel like it can be said enough to be how grateful I am to all of you for supporting my channel, for liking my videos, for watching them, and for deciding to subscribe to my channel. So that being said, I am going to end this video here, as I feel like we have kind of covered everything, and I've completed all of the black in this section, so now I get to move on to something more fun, but this is relatively muted colors in this canvas. So, okay, I am going to end this video here. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a like. It really does help my channel and helps other people find it, so I would appreciate that. If you would like to see more of my content as I create it, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope that you have a wonderful, marvelous, fantastic day. Bye-bye.